he wants to have this long thing hanging down in the back of him. Okay? Are you all following me? Okay. We can call this exploring the contradictions of white supremacy. Okay. I guess you have ball games. What are the two series of ball games under white supremacy? For you, those of you who know, don't tell, let some new people guess. What are the two series of ball games in the white supremacy system and culture? Those are C answers. Can't pass the course. Now remember, this is the key. This is the key that you have to keep in mind. The key is male genitalia, and the real key is black male genitalia. The concern of the entire white supremacy system and culture revolves around this issue. Okay, what are these things called? Test. But you're right. The testicles are also called balls, right? And the culture says what? Keep your eye on the ball. Now we didn't know, we thought, well, watch baseball as it's coming towards the back. No, these are the balls. Okay. So I asked the question again, what are the two series of ball games in the white supremacy system and culture? Everybody looks at it, but not being trained. See, we're right now training ourselves to look at the dynamic of white supremacy, understanding it in depth, deep down underneath, so that we have a different perspective of what the surface phenomena is. Understanding the issue in white supremacy, there are two series of ball games, big brown and small white. Oh, all the balls fall under these categories. Let's start on the white side. Ping pong, tennis, golf, baseball. That's about it, right? Okay. Big brown, football, basketball, soccer, bowling, medicine. We got some medicine for you. Okay. Now, what are the balls that the most virile men play with? The big brown, right? The men that are considered to be most manly play with the big brown ball, football, basketball, right? Now let's look and see where these balls go. Uh-oh. The football goes into some white upright legs at the end of the field. The basketball goes into the white net. And then on the side, we have these little white dancing girls in short dresses. Oh. Oh. And hardly a black girl can get on this team, right? These are the ladies who say that their ideal mates are tall, dark, and handsome. Do you know? They are really playing out before the black men begin to dominate. And I said it's no accident that they would dominate the games that have the big round balls in it, okay? But before they really wanted to let black men play, then white males were playing with these big brown balls, pretending that they were the tall, dark, and handsome person that the white female said that she liked best. Okay, the small white ball. What is the game that the most powerful white men play? Golf. And what happens to that little ball? That little white ball goes into a hole in black Mother Earth because white men say they're not men until they've had sexual intercourse with a black woman. Do you understand? So there they stand, long stick between legs, trying to put that little white ball in a hole in one. Do you follow? Everything is racist. What are the two series of smoking objects in the white supremacy system and culture? No, come on, I told you. See, keep this in your mind. Big brown and small white. Big brown, cigars, pipes, and moors. They say they taste better. Small white, cigarettes. And what is the slang for cigarettes? Fag. See, consult the dictionary. I don't make any of this stuff up. White men said that the cigarette compared to the cigar was effeminate. Do you understand? So what we have is a big dynamic of envy. Envy, okay? The men that are considered to be most powerful smoke what? Cigars. The men that are supposed to be most intelligent smoke pipes. So that at the same time that black people, because right now we have the disease killing us of black self-hate in a culture that really admires black. You see, if the man that is supposed to be most intelligent smokes a big black pipe, and the one who is supposed to be most powerful smokes a big black cigar, they are paying tribute to the black people of Africa, and the black men specifically. Do you understand? Just like if somebody is supposed to have knowledge and graduate in a black gown and a cap. If you are supposed to know about God, then you wear a black robe. If you are supposed to understand justice, you wear a black robe. At the same time that they have taught us to hate black. Those of us who already have the black man who is mellow. All right? We have an epidemic of black male on black male homicide with guns. But look at this. This is the issue. If we turn that around, or we look at the lateral view, and we turn it around 90 degrees, we see this, and what is that? A gun. What is the gun called in the white supremacy system and culture? The great equalizer. The reason being is that when the white male brain computer looks at the black male, looks at his genitals and realizes that the black male has dominant genetic material in his genitals, that he has genetic material that can cause white genetic annihilation, the white brain computer goes something like this. He has weapons that can annihilate people. Must create weapons can do the same thing. So he creates the great equalizer. The gun can kill black men because the white supremacy system and culture realize that the black man has genetic material that can cause white men's annihilation. which is what they consider to be white death. You understand? So we go from that to having what? Justifiable homicide. Justifiable homicide is not simply somebody with a gun for self-defense killing somebody else. Very specifically, it is a white male with a uniform and a gun who kills a non-white male and says whether he's 14 or 44, I thought he had a weapon. Well, he does have a weapon. But he did not have a knife or a gun. But just that very perception that the black male's genitals has the power to cause white genetic annihilation produces the conscious or subconscious attitude of justifiable homicide. You with that, right? So I think that it is important, it really is important, I would recommend what you think about it, that we have dialogue instead of, because almost every month, some black male is being killed, whether it's 13-year-old somebody or 18-year-old somebody, and then the black people get angry and we start fuming and carrying gun cards. I would say it would be much more effective to hold a press conference and say this is a vulnerable activity, but we understand why it exists. You see, and begin to talk about the fear of white genetic annihilation in the thinking of the white collective, okay? Now, when we understand this, we will begin to understand this horrific attack that is on black people in general and black men in particular, because it has everything to do with what is happening to us in our families, so-called, in our communities, so-called, and what in the schools and everywhere. Here's the black male and the black female.
They say it's two people watching, but I don't see it on.
You know, we're always talking about black male-female relations and how we have to understand each other more and be sensitive to each other. I maintain the most important thing that we have to understand is the attack of white supremacy. Because white supremacy, with its most fundamental concern for white genetic survival, says that the black male has to be attacked. And that attack comes in the form of unemployment, underemployment. And when that happens, then there's all kind of friction in the so-called black man. Sometimes I prefer to call it a survival unit. Okay? So when this attack comes, if the people are not skilled in understanding of white supremacy so they can sit down in the kitchen and talk about this is what is happening to us, you are fine and I'm fine. But white supremacy is raising hell with us. And so we must therefore intensify our efforts against white supremacy. Do you see what I'm saying? Not go and get some more perfume or banco. You see why? Because this is a war. This is a war. This is Lebanon. See, if we understood that this was Lebanon, then everything that is happening would be clear. But as long as we don't want to face the fact that this is war, white supremacy is war against non-white people, most specifically against black non-white people, because black people have the highest level of melanin pigmentation production that can most effectively cause white genetic annihilation. So the war is hitting us very heavily at this time. If we don't understand that it's war, we can go round and round and round and round in a circle and never come out in terms of a solution for black male-female relations. For example, and this year we can discuss it and maybe debate. People used to suggest that one black man is all black men being killed, that one black man And
the
I can say
car and get
that,
the screwdriver. I mean, I was
okay, but I don't think that it works.
That's hard.
Because if there's
I
an
know,
attack
I'm
on male, so he cannot support himself, then if he has 5 wives, then they would end up supporting him, so manhood would be divided by 5. If there was not white supremacy, then manhood would be multiplied by 5 if he could support himself and 5 wives. Do you understand?
But you got to
But
plug
under the
that
conditions of war,
back into the
if
back
the
of
war
the
is
computer.
attacking the people
The
in general
Wi-Fi
and the
is
men in
strong enough to
particular,
keep it.
then the answer is when the men are disappearing, intensify the war against the enemy. You see, and then when the war is over, you see how many men and women link up together. But this is war. This is war. When this war attacks in this way, the black male many times leaves out of pain and frustration. The black female, in her pain and frustration, is in the house with the children. If she didn't understand white supremacy and was taught about Dick and Jane and Spot and Puff and everybody is equal, you see, then she's very upset because things haven't worked out the way that she thought at the time that they got married. She's very upset, and this frustration and anger is going to hit the male child. And she'll say, there you go,
I bet you don't even.
She's not a bad person. Her father's not a bad person. They are victims of white supremacy without understanding in depth what is happening. So this attack on the black male child, and then he goes to school and the teacher attacks him there. She's frustrated at home, mother's frustrated. So the little male child starts thinking, this is a no-win position. Mother, will you please put some fingernail polish on my nails?